Welcome to the BlueRobin Talks Podcast, Episode 3. Today we have a special guest with us here today, a man of many hats. He is also the head and owner of Krimson Square. He is Meta and Oracle certified as well. And also he's on the Penn State University Harrisburg campus Board of Advisors. He's kind of the LeBron of digital, but he is not LeBron James. Instead, Gibran Jones, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yo, I love that. That's what's up, man. Good to see you again, too. I just saw Mr. Smith that was on the panel with us, too. I just saw him.
Nice.
Oh, man. What an introduction, man. I really appreciate it. And when people get my name wrong, I always say it's like LeBron, I'm just short and poor instead of tall and rich. So it's funny that you came up with that.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us today.
Too easy, all day.
Oh, man. Yes, thank you. So I'm going to lead off with the first question. So what got you into the marketing field? And marketing is a very broad field. We all work in the industry. So how did you kind of refine exactly what you wanted to do within the field, knowing you had so many different options and things that you could get into?
Basically leaning into the things that I didn't want to do, right? Like I'm initially a tech guy. I went into the Army for a technology-based MOS, got out, went to college, and graduated with a degree in information science and technology. And I've always been like all over the place. I've been a DBA, I've done cybersecurity. I was the web designer for the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture. And so in that path, there was always like this thing where you feel like you can be analytical and creative. And so I was always on the analytical side, but you're always creating, right? Like, especially in the tech field, like you're always creating. And then I found myself, I think it was like about 2008, 2009, I found myself without a job, right? New wife, firstborn son, new house. And it was like, okay, what can I do to sustain, my new family? And at that time it was web design. But over the years in business, realizing like it doesn't matter how good you are if the customer doesn't know what you're talking about. And that's what put me in the marketing space. I tell people in class now, there's only one industry with two interworking parts. It's only marketing and sales. That's it. You're not in the automotive industry. You're not in consumer packaged goods. You're not in B2B. You're not in B2C. You're in sales and marketing. And so I just really learned to embrace it over the years with products that I really love and I can back. So I don't feel like it's a huge pressure and I'm lying. It's like, no, this is really what it does. This is really what I do.
Love that.
For sure. Now, even with sales, marketing, and even multimedia, you've had to see a lot of changes at this point. From print media to social, now AI, so now you really specialize in we're moving in times of evolution. But what are your thoughts on the movement that's been happening and it's been happening so rapidly too? But what's your opinion on that?
One of the things that we learned early on, especially in basic training, is adapt, improvise, and overcome. So it's not about saying, oh, it's new, I'm not going to touch it, or it's new, I'm going to go all in. It's like, change is the only consistent thing in the universe. I'm just surprised by people who are older who are always surprised by change. It's like, we've seen this before. We've seen like from the yellow pages to billboards to just social media ads to now, ChatGPT running ads on their platform. It's just a new evolution of what it always was. And if you want to stay relevant, what's more exciting than something new to play with, right? Like when the internet became big time, like I was a teenager. So I didn't really get to have my hands in on that. I feel like with this AI revolution right now, I get to be in on the ground floor and really do something with it, as opposed to having it dictated to me about how I'm going to use it. I get to see the evolution and growth of it. So I feel like there's nothing new under the sun. It just really changes form. I think it was Henry Ford that said, if I'd have asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. They would have never said a car.
Yeah,
so like, right? Like couldn't conceptualize like, we're in those times right now. You can't really fight change. If it goes, as far as people think it's going to go, cool, you're going to be a subject matter expert. If it doesn't, oh well, on to the next thing. Like they also said, believe it or not, they also said the internet was a fad. I think there's articles as late as 1997 where they're like, oh, it's just a fad, it's going to go away. So it's like you never really know, but it's always better to be over prepared than under prepared.
Making adjustments, and
Always.
So I know you mentioned before that you spent time in the service. So did you learn anything in the service that kind of helped you within your marketing career? Me and Tyreese are both basketball players, so there's things that we learned in our careers as basketball players, playing at the levels that we played at, that we were able to translate into the world that we're in. So was there anything that you learned in that field that kind of translated?
Funny enough, it's probably pretty similar. Like I have some sayings that I live by that I learned while I was in, but really just dealing with people from all over the country. Like, I don't think a lot of stereotypes can surpass, like, once you have actual contact with those people. So, like, I'm in a 60-man bay at 18 years old, people from Nebraska, people from Georgia, people from Missouri, people from other countries, right? Like, having these conversations and really understanding how people think outside of the neighborhood or the city that I was raised in. And so those things really stick with me. A few key sayings that, adapt, improvise, overcome. That comes from the military. The work ethic, right? That's the first time where you could work hard and you'll be applauded for it. No one's saying, oh, you should probably take a break, right? Like I've always been, I'm a self-proclaimed nerd, but I like to work because I like results. And in the military, like, you want to keep working, go ahead, like I get to my first unit, somebody was leaving, or like they needed someone to take his place, another sergeant, which I wasn't at the time. I was just a very new private. I said, I'll do it. I became an honor graduate in my class, my AIT class, Advanced Individual Training. So I feel like I could do anything. Yeah. And then I get inside this tank, and it's a system I've never seen before. Lo and behold, it's a system that they were testing for the rest of the Army. But here I am, right? I have to figure it out. I love that challenge. Another saying I got from my unit, which was the 110 Cav Buffalo Soldiers, was ready and forward. So you just kind of live by these things, these saying, these monikers. And being in tech and being in marketing, it's always like, I'm not deploying. I'm not doing PT. I'm not breaking rocks with a hammer. So, like, if I have to stay up all night to get it done, then so be it. Like, there are people doing harder jobs than what I have going on. And, like I know in business, if you're chasing the shiny things, most of those folks are going to quit along the way. The longer you stay at something, the better you will get at it. And so I got all those things from the military. I'm very appreciative of my time, but it's so similar. It's funny because it's so similar to anyone else who has dedicated their time to a thing, right? Not just bouncing around, but like, okay, I'm going to play basketball, which means I got to start setting the table earlier by doing certain things to reach certain levels if I want to get there. Same thing in the military, Hey, do my PT test and be a professional, be a pro at what I do, so that when they call my name, I'm ready and everything can be handled.
And I like how you mentioned the just the being able to figure things out piece. I feel like that's one of the biggest things our men in society are missing right now. It's just you're not supposed to have all the answers. Go find it though. Figure it out.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because we have all the past, like there's so many books. Like there's so many books. There's people who have made the mistakes. You still have your religious texts. You could talk to people, right? Like I have a group of friends, man. You could be an HVAC. I could still learn something that I can apply to my business. The fast food window came from the banking industry. So I'll never forget like how you can see something in another industry, right? And bring it over to yours and be an innovator in that industry. Like that's the fun part about it. Like who just wants to like stamp widgets all day? Like, no, bring that, bring that challenge, bring that difficult thing and let's get it figured out. So I can say, okay, now I got that tool in my tool belt too.
Love that.
Definitely. We also understand that you are on the board of advisors at Penn State Harrisburg. Being a Penn State guy myself, I know the network is, you go anywhere and you're automatically connected. I think at Ty last week, we met some real estate folks on the West Shore, and the guy went to Penn State back in the day, but he knows a guy who just got the naming rights for Beaver Stadium with West Shore Home, and he was telling me like a full story about his time at Penn State versus now. Of course, some like agreements, disagreements. That's how business partners act.
Right.
even looking at it from the educational standpoint, what kind of goes into being on the board at Penn State? How do operations work? How does that system kind of flow for you?
It really is about the students for me, right? Student advocacy, and seeing like how can they get the most out of their education. I think there's a bit of marketing in colleges, right? Like certain names carry certain weight, but then those students and those alumni have to hold those universities and organizations accountable for putting out the product that they say they put out. And I welcome the opportunity to work with the school and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? Hey, have you ever thought about that? Because like I'm personally not an academic, right? Like I'm a nerd, but I'm not an academic. So it's like I remember what it's like to be on the yard because my class, 2004, we were the first freshman class at Penn State Harrisburg. Like so I'm trying to make sure everyone has the same great experience I have. They have the same resources that I have, even if they don't have the same mindset, even if they don't, have the same goals or come from the same backgrounds. It's like this place means a lot to me based upon not the geographic location, the people I met at that time in my life, like, so that's what I push for, making sure like, hey, I don't know how that benefits the students, the professors have their job and they have their thing, but, the students are what's near and dear to my heart. That's what makes the alumni association and the alumni network powerful. It's not the professors, it's the alumni that make it powerful. So I want to make sure they get the most out of it and they feel welcome, into our illustrious alumni network.
I agree with that too. And then I know Todd here is also a Dell State graduate as well. So yeah, in terms of the and his HBC network, if you do the right things, you play your right cards. I mean, you're connected to life. So we were just talking about that previously. Just like cherish the times, make good connections, make good decisions while you're in college, and you never know what can happen to you later on. So it's a great. It's a good use of your time for college and not just wasting your parents' dollars.
No, and have a vision too, right? Like, if you go to college for underwater basket weaving, you can't say, "Oh, I can't find a job." Like, what did you expect? Like have a plan for your life. Like have a plan. Like I'm going to do this, and this is what I need to do to achieve that. One of the things and this is not to be like, negative about it. No one's giving you anything. Like you have to earn it. Like there's a lot of people with degrees, right? Not as much as without, right? But still, they're not going to give you something because you have a degree, right? Where's your work ethic? What is your character? What is your reputation? How do you interact with coworkers? Are you pleasant to be around? Do you have great manners? Can we take you to do a presentation to the CEO and he's going to be blown away and say, hey, I need to work more with this person. I want him to be my mentee. Those things matter. The college experience matters, but you have to have that plan. I think it was Jim Rohn. I know this for a fact. Jim Rohn said this. He said, if you don't have a plan for your life, you fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Like you got to have that vision. You got to be locked in. I tell my mentees all the time, there's two ways to play this life, right? You can either have fun now and work later, or work now and have fun later. You see an older person working a minimum wage job and you don't know their story, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but it's like, if you talk to them, more than likely, they had a lot of fun when they were young, but it makes sense to work harder now when you're younger, where you have the energy, you don't have all the responsibilities, like grind it out, because when you're 60, you're not going to want to do it. So like just do it now, like, but have a plan, stick to your plan, and make sure you're a blessing to others along the way. It all works out.
1,000%.
Now, there's this debate. I want to switch gears for a second and go into your marketing state. So there's this debate on paid versus organic when it comes to ads. Mm-hmm. Where do you stand in that digital space, and where do you see things kind of going in the future?
I think they work in tandem. I think organic is first, paid is second. Organic, it has to be, because say you put out like one post, right? I think some marketers forget how consumers think. They they make them like this, oh, they're going to do this, and you can't think for them. Like, just think about how you buy things. If I see a viral post, an ad, right? Millions of views, millions of likes, and I go to that page and there's only one post, it's a scam. Like there's nothing organic there. It's a scam. I'm not having anything to do with it. Like, so you have to do the organic. One is cheaper, but two, it has to be authentic, right? Because if you're a public figure and you're happy-go-lucky online and I meet you in person and you're not happy-go-lucky, now you seem fake to me. So the organic is going to be the base of everything. And then do the paid when you actually have something to sell. You have a product or you have a community or whatever, a service. Because what happens is people think going viral is like this thing that you can scheme. And the reason why going viral is lauded is because it's rare. It is rare. You can't call it, right? Sometimes you're going to go viral, sometimes you won't. Some people do it multiple times. Some people do it never, right? But it doesn't matter if you go viral if the only thing you're getting is views and likes. We call those vanity metrics, right? Any metric as a business that you can't track back to a dollar is a vanity metric because it just makes you feel good, right? And the business of business is business. Now, I will say with Meta, there's a certain order in which they want you to run ads. And when business owners skip that order, I can tell immediately because they say things like, I spent a lot of money on ads and I didn't get any sales because they think online is different than in person, and it's not, right? The same way I would introduce myself and say, hi, I'm Gibran, hey, I'm Ty. And then once we see each other again, like we'll get into more detail. It's the same way you run it online, right? I'm going to introduce you to my logo and what I do, and that's the end of the conversation for now. When you see me again, then I'll tell you my services. Then I'll tell you my certifications. Then I'll tell you why I'm good when I started, why I'm in business, right? But if I tell you all that up front, you're going to like blank me out,
Yeah.
I say, hey, I'm Gibran, and I got a brother and a sister, and I got 3 dogs, and I got a wife, and I got 2 sons, and we live here, and we went here for vacation. You're going to be like, okay, like you're going to hear me. You're not going to retain any of it. And think about in our field, how many businesses do that? We were founded in 1921, and we're the best because we use organic rubber, and we've been making this machine. Like, I'm not hearing nothing. I don't even know who you are. And so I think they try to shortcut things with paid ads, not realizing that paid ads are the cherry on top, and organic is kind of like the base of it.
Makes sense. Building that brand first, and then going in with the paid. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. And then think about this though too, Ty. Why are you marketing? Like, because everything we put out as a business is an ad, right? So if you're posting just because it's Wednesday, you're probably better off not posting. Like, what are you looking to get out of this? Like if it's just awareness, that's fine too. If it's engagement, that's fine too. Have a reason because people need to feel something. The customer is always first. So how are we relating to them in our advertising? Do they care that we were founded in 19? I'm not even going to say that. Have you ever brought something from somebody because they were founded in 1921? Solely on that. Right? Like,
yeah, never. That's never.
What are we doing? It's nice to know. Right? What's grandma's recipe? Like, I guess. Like, that's not the reason why I'm going to buy from you, though. Like, you got to bring me into your world. I think that's missing.
I agree.
For sure. Now, to cap off things for the interview, let's look into the future.
Okay.
Personal growth, whether it's Gibran Jones or growth for the business in Krimson Square, what does the future outlook look like for you? Any future plans? What do you have in mind? I get it. Don't give away all your plans, your strategy. But what does it look like for you?
No, like, it's funny. It's funny. Like, I don't believe in giving that. Think about how many years has the Food Network been on TV and people still can't cook? They give you the ingredients, they give you the recipes, they give you the temperature, and people still can't do it. So it's like, the only way to really espouse expertise is to give it away. Like, I truly believe that. This year, I've made it my business to be more visible. I've been rocking in my industry for 5 years now, working with some of the top companies, and I've just been quiet about it. So it looks like me being more visible, me speaking more speaking engagements, more self-directed products. So 3 different tiers, right? Like do it yourself, done with you, and done for you. I'm going to address all 3 of those tiers for the Gibran Jones brand. For the Krimson Square brand, I'm going to go more corporate, deal with more marketing teams, corporations there. I also have a clothing lifestyle brand called Only Squares. So I'll ramp that back up in the fall, start selling my hoodies and stuff again. And just being aware and being in tune with the constantly shifting landscape that we work in as marketers. It's all fun for me. I'm excited for the future.
Nice. I love it. Man. Anything else you want to talk about, Tyreese?
One last question. We have a couple of minutes to squeeze. You are a man of many chapters within your book, but if you would have to make a TV show or a movie, what would it be about?
Ooh. Okay. First of all, you got as much time as you need, unless you guys got something going on. But I would think it would be about finding yourself, like learning how to silence the crowd. Learning how to say, okay, this is who I am, and it's a duality in it too, right? Because it's like this is who I am, but I'm not the only one, right? Like I might be the only one here, but I'm not the only one ever, right? So I'll think about being a relatively shy kid to the public, but as a middle child and as a Scorpio, my siblings would say I'm a terror. Like they'd be like, "What?" Like, but then like there's a whole different side of me, and it's not that I'm turning it on, turning it off. It's so situation dependent. I would talk about, my parents and their upbringing and, the way they raised us. I'll talk about like my Aunt Diane, who unfortunately died of cancer a long ways back. But, she was like my first like fan. She was like the first fan of me that wasn't my parent, like I remember sitting on her porch in the city and watching my cousins. They were running around with all these like little girls, and it's like, oh, I want to do that. And she always called me Dr. Jones. She said, Dr. Jones, you see these little girls out here? If they had any brains, they'd be talking to you. You the one. She said, watch, Dr. Jones, watch till you get older. You're going to have everything in order and they're going to want you. And it was like, I never forgot that. It made me feel so confident in who I was because it always seems like everybody's doing something else. So like, it'll be a story about that. It'll be a story about joining the military when I didn't necessarily have to. It's because I wanted to do for self. It'll be the story about some of the things my father taught me. I always say get my attitude from my dad and my manners from my mom. My mom's from Western PA, small town. My dad's from New Jersey. Like it's competing worlds there. And sitting down on a Saturday morning in the '90s watching Shaq and Penny, and my dad saying, "You're just gonna sit here and watch someone else make money? Like, change my world." Like that statement that I never forgot. Change my world. It'll be about all of those things. It's like, at the end of the day, whatever you do, make sure it's your decision. That way I can't blame anybody and I can't be mad at Ty because Ty said do this and I ended up doing it and it didn't work out. Ty can suggest it. It has to be Gibran's decision. And that way it's like, okay, even if it doesn't work out, I did what I wanted to do.
I like that. Well, Gibran, thank you for joining us on this episode and we wish you best of luck.
Thank